This is Unearthing Eden, a podcast hosted by two witches where we will primarily be discussing the metaphysical and all things witchcraft. Welcome to our garden.
Hey guys, today we're going to talk about our different types of glamour magic and color theory. So, we're going to get into glamour magic first. It is a type of protection or projection of ourselves where we want to change the perspective of others. It depends on the place and the people that you're going to be encountering. This can be a business meeting, public transportation, date night, a night out with friends, and basically any other occasion where you want to be perceived in a different way. Now, the perception can be in a positive light, or it can be in a leave me alone, I don't want to be talking to anybody type of vibe. You can do that based on any type of glamour you are going for. There are different types of glamour. So we have lust, attraction, protection and shielding, dominating and confidence, and intelligence. All of those can be used on a different way. So you don't have to worry about only having one and without the other, and you can layer on all of them. The most important part of glamour is layering them. You cannot do any type of glamour magic without having a base layer of protection that is a non-glamour layer of protection. So it can be a charm, it could be shielding. A lot of people do choose to do shielding because it's something that everybody should be learning how to do or know how to do. I myself am still learning that. It's a little difficult because it's not something that I've been used to my entire life, so it's definitely a work in progress. You can also layer glamours, so you can use your shower or bath ritual as a glamour, and then add on your skincare and makeup routine for the self-confidence, for intelligence, or anything along those lines. A lot of people do go for a attraction or a confidence type of glamour just because it's a really good day-to-day one to put on. And that can be anywhere from just a simple foundation concealer, so that way you look like you know what you're doing, because you have to have that type of energy coming off of you. I don't wear makeup myself that often, and when I do, it's only for certain occasions. So my glamour type would be like using my little facial primer and my little skincare routine every morning, and then my chapstick, so that way I sound more confident. You can also make sure that you have sigils with you. These sigils can enhance your presence around people, so it can make people want to gravitate towards you, make people want to talk to you and learn what you're speaking about, while other sigils can be used to push people away.
You can also use it if you feel unsafe in a situation or you know you're about to go somewhere alone. There's a lot of really good protection layers that you can add on to that, and then including glamour will make it less likely for anyone to bother you.
We're gonna kind of get into, I don't want to call them the downsides of glamour, but people can try to take advantage of a glamour by projecting it onto somebody else. So if it's somebody that, they really, really want to be with you, or they really, really want something from you, they can try to project the lust or the attraction on you as a person. But if you're very in tune with your self and your spirituality and your core, you'll be able to be, oh, somebody's trying to do something to me. I need to figure out how to reverse this or make sure that it doesn't happen again or stop it where it starts. Because everything does have its disadvantages, and everything, is going to need a balance.
So, love magic is another topic that I want to briefly discuss. Now, if somebody is targeting you specifically, whether using glamour on top of love spells or you're thinking about doing that, it's one thing to do a love spell to enhance your attraction and confidence to get attention, but it's a whole other thing when you are targeting one specific person and you believe that that is going to make this person want you or love you. The thing is with that, there has to be a pre-existing connection for
Mhm.
love to exist. You cannot force love, and if you believe that someone is trying to do so to you, make sure you have your shields, your wards, and your protections in place. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work. It is going to, like you said, backfire on that person.
Mhm.
And I'm not one to believe the threefold law. I do somewhat believe in karma, but it's more so the energy that you put out there is the energy that you're going to receive. You cannot take away somebody's consent for love. Love is not something that can be forced. I do not recommend it. If you are dead set on doing it or having someone do it for you, just beware. It is not going to turn out the way that you think it is.
Yeah. No, it is spiritual assault, and consent is everything. And then that comes into, like, as you were saying, with the self-love and everything. I have my little primer and my little chapstick that I use because I'm not really a makeup fan, but I also have a it's not like a physical one, but it's more along the lines of I change how I am being perceived to the public. So I have a really bad resting bitch face, and I can make it seem a little bit worse than it normally is. And that will also change my outward projection of the vibe. As you know, because I think you've walked in like to where it's like a place that I was sitting and you were like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why? I'm fine." And you're like, "You look mad."
Yeah. I think that's one of the best defenses that we have is our facial expression. It's the first thing that someone might notice.
Do you use Glamour? And do you want to talk about how you use it?
I do. So I use it every morning. If I'm planning on going out or doing anything, I apply makeup. I'll do sigils with my foundation. And then I add the layers. I moisturize first and then the foundation. And then I use my powder, which is layered up for me. And with each step, if I feel particularly witchy, I'll throw in my candle magic. I have a specific candle that I use for anything if I want to attract something towards me or if I want to be perceived in a more positive light or friendly light. I use this candle specifically for that. I also change up my eyeliner depending on how I want to be perceived. I go for a sharper look if I'm only wanting to attract a certain kind of person, or if I'm trying to keep away certain people, I'll use more of a softer eyeliner or no eyeliner at all. If I'm
Mhm.
trying to be invisible, or I'm just trying to go about my business and not really be bothered by anyone. I do have other things that I layer on top of that with my jewelry. So I have a necklace that I use with my coven, and it has our uh, god and goddess symbols on it. So I'll wear that if I'm trying to add more protection to myself.
Mhm.
Perfumes are also very good. This is mostly for me trying to attract something, some type of energy. But going to work, sometimes we have to speak to people, sometimes we have to be very friendly to people. We get pulled in all directions, and I don't want to come across as crass or dismissive towards anyone because my primary job, as well as yours, is dealing with people and being welcoming. So I want to give off that air of confidence and also knowing what we're doing. And that also ties into clothing that you wear. I'll dress up more to be perceived in a different way, and then other days I'll dress down a lot, and
Yeah.
that's usually the days where we don't really have a lot going on and I just kinda wanna get through my day.
No, I'm in the same way. And it depends on what you choose to wear depending on like the way that, as you're saying, is being presented. So if you're going to be wearing jeans or like dress pants and a nicer top or a blouse or anything like that versus yoga pants or sweatpants or shorts and just a regular t-shirt or anything like that, because people will look at you differently, and it depends on the colors that we wear, which goes into our next topic of color theory. Are you ready for that?
Yes, so I have a couple of different colors that I wanna share with everyone, and this is how I personally use these colors. It is going to vary based on culture and how you perceive those colors. and this is a personal experience of mine, if you have a family member that has passed on and you want to work with them, you want to set up an altar for them, you might use their favorite color for that. And for me, that was the color red, which means power, the fire element, your root chakra, energy, lust, attention, or domination. It's a very in your face color, but it was my grandma's favorite color. So if I'm trying to work with her energies or honor her, I will use the color red or I will wear the color red specifically for her, not necessarily to project those other emotions or those other reactions. I may not want to attract attention, but I do it for her. Next, I'll get into the color orange, which is very good for if you need to communicate clearly, if you want new opportunities, say you're going into a job interview. A lot of the times when you wear orange, you're more noticeable. You give off a happy, warm vibe to those around you. Pink would be more of a calm, loving vibe. It's mostly tied into friendships or different relationships in general if you want peace within that. It's also a good color for protection of children if you're trying to protect a child in your life or fertility. Yellow is a good color if you are portraying intelligence. If you surround yourself with yellow items at your workstation or where you study, a lot of the times it helps with your thought process, clarity. It's a very joyful, in your face color, especially the brighter yellows. Very in tune with the sun. The color green, which is a good healing color, obviously, Mother Nature. It's associated with growth and abundance, grounding, meditation. It is also a very calming color to work with. Blue is tied to your emotions, intuition, tranquility, and movement. Um, I personally use blue more so when I think of things like yoga. If you do a lot of fluid movements, it's like water. It's very peaceful, but used in abundance could mean more callous and cold because you also have to associate that with the ocean, the sea. It is also tied to the throat chakra, which is good for clear communication. Purple is good for working with your higher self. If you're looking into working with nature spirits, any kind of dream work you want to do, or past lives. Black is a very well used color, especially in candle magic. When you're trying to go in and banish anything, it's good for warding spells and rituals, any ancestor work. It is very connected with the dead, necromancy, new beginnings, as well as creation and manifestation. And white being all colors, it does have heavy associations with purity for some people, but for me personally, working with any of the colors can also represent purity. In all of these, there is a pureness to it, and that kind of goes into the controversy of white magic and black magic. Black magic being seen as evil, and then white magic being seen as good and pure, and that's just kind of a stigma that I separated myself from a long time ago. If you still subscribe to those thoughts, that is your journey, but this is just my opinion on the colors. And that
100%.
concludes the colors that I wanted to share for this episode. I will be posting a slideshow on Instagram with all of these colors and the meanings that I stated above.
I think the cool thing that goes with the colors as well is whenever you look at like a noise machine, so you have people are always going to think first of the white noise machines, but there's different colors for those noise machines to
Oh, I
draw
love
out different
those.
emotions and different feelings. A lot of people do go with a pink noise machine because it's a calmer sound. A lot of people have it for their kids, or they have um like the yellow noise. Personally, I use pink or purple if I need to relax, or if I feel like I need to have a certain type of dream, or if I need to have a dream that's going to tell me what I need to do. I do change the type of noise that I have, and like some of the ones that are out there as well, because the pictures on the live, because they're all live streams from YouTube, because why not? The picture will be the color of the noise that you're trying to invoke. Personally, white noise is just too high. excuse me, high pitch, scratchy. I'm not a fan of it. And I guess that's because it is a combination of all of the colors because you'll
Yeah.
hear the undertones of each color in a white noise machine compared to the other colors. And I'm a big fan of how color theory works in general because of the noise machines. Purple noise is so good. I love it.
It's very peaceful. I've heard green too.
I haven't tried green yet, and it's only because so here's the thing, I love the color green so much, and it's very fitting for me being an earth sign, but if I don't like green noise, I'm probably just gonna be really upset, and I don't want that to happen.
I think you would dislike it. I think it's very peaceful. It's good when I'm trying to meditate. And then purple's
Ooh,
good for when I'm trying to sleep. I haven't heard pink yet though. I am going to look into that
you
because
should.
through my research, finding out that it actually does help lower heart rates and in states of anxiety or stress. There are different variations of each of these colors if you're trying to mix these colors in together. And you can also think of it like mixing pink and red can soften the blow of the red itself.
Yeah,
It can make it more of a loving vibe rather than a domination thing. I would recommend going for colors that naturally match each other. You don't
right.
wanna clash with a bright blue and a bright red because those are basically opposites to each other. We're thinking tranquility and emotion versus power and lust. Certain things like that that you can also throw into your work when you're doing makeup, when you're doing clothing, and some people do like to mix those energies and they pull it off very well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am not one of those people.
No, me either. Me with my all black clothing and sometimes a pop of green here and there.
I'll do red. I wear red very well because I'm a fire sign too. I think it's
You
kind of
do.
in my nature. I'm very much Aries. I'm very loud, I'm very in your face,
Yes.
and I do very good with the element of fire itself. So I am more drawn to red. I'm also balanced out with the attraction to the blue for the tranquility, and I know that I need that calm. I know that
Right.
I need the yellow and everything else that you add on to your outfits or your color palette. The things that you eat too could correspond with the color theory. Fruits and vegetables, when you're trying to open up certain chakras, they correlate with your chakras, and that goes for the rainbow colors, not the colors that I specifically listed out to you. So, if you're trying to open up certain chakras, you can use color correspondences for that as well.
Yeah.
But that concludes my information for colors and different correspondences you can use for it. If there's any other colors that you guys work with, I would love to hear how you guys use these colors and what they mean to you. So I will hand it over to you for the crystal of the week.
Ah, yes, my favorite time of the week. All right, ready? So today we have chosen rose quartz, which is very fitting because we are talking a lot about um, self-love and colors and glamour. I am not somebody that has been called or drawn towards rose quartz yet. It's coming from Mickey's experiences, and then it's also coming from some research that I've done. It is a heartstone for inner healing and love. So it helps enhance any type of positive affirmations. It'll restore or start a trust and harmony in relationships, whether that be with a romantic or a platonic or a familiar relationship. It also helps in emotional healing because it's going to open up your heart to that harmony and that inner love. Rose quartz also, I did not know this. This is going to be a fun fact for you, I think. It's a protective shield against environmental pollutants. So if
I
you're
did
in a
not know
bad,
that.
yeah, it's super cool. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to look into it a little bit more as to how that works, but I think that's so cool. And the biggest thing is that it does replace a lot of negative energies with the positive ones. And because this stone does a lot of healing and love and positive, it does need to be cleansed a lot. You can place it under the moonlight. With this one, now I'm not somebody that uses a lot of candles, or I don't really burn stuff because I have somebody that I live with who is a little bit sensitive to a lot of smells, and I don't want to mess with them too much. If I was to get rose quartz and if I needed to cleanse it, I would most likely be outside under the moon. I think this type of stone does require that physical smudge.
You can also get a spray for smudge,
You're so
like the
right.
essential oil. If you are the type of person that's extremely sensitive to smoke or any kind of smells, don't feel like you need to use it. There are other methods you can energetically cleanse these stones just in your hands. And I know that you do this, Sarah. You put them under different moon phases
I
to
do.
cleanse them and to charge their energy. And that's also a really good method to go for when you're trying to cleanse things, but you're also trying to respect the other people in your house. Forgot.
This one, the zodiac sign affiliation, I also found some deities that are associated with rose quartz, but we do start with Taurus. It's an earth sign, also ruled by Venus. And guess what? The Roman goddess Venus is the Greek goddess Aphrodite, and then it also is associated with Adonis. And I unfortunately did not look into anything on Adonis yet, but we'll get into him another time or them. And it helps a Taurus find solace in everything that they do. And it's not saying that this stone is for only to be used by somebody that is a Taurus. It just has I would call like a special place in their heart or soul for them to want to look out into this crystal.
They're more naturally to have a calling to it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is super dope. Really cool.
That is really
Okay.
cool.
And we're gonna get into my favorite part of where we can find it.
Don't send anyone to the mines this time.
Okay, maybe the quarries. Sorry. It's found in Japan, Madagascar, Brazil, or the US. Everywhere that it is found, it's a mountainous region. So if you live in the US, it's most likely going to be found in the Rockies or the Appalachian if they have rose quartz mines. Hold on, let me repeat that. Rose, we do live near the
We
Appalachian
are an
Mountain.
Appalachian.
I think we should. We're going to do a little
We're gonna
catch
do
us
a
eventually vlog. We're going to do a
Vlogmas us going into the mines for
if
rose
we get
quartz.
if we get 1,000 subscribers, we'll go mining for rose quartz or onyx or whatever crystal that we can find near us, and
We
we'll see
just
what
go to
happens.
the little shops where you get the sifter and you go through sand.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't use rose quartz, but I know that Mickey, you have in the past or you still currently. Do you want to explain what you do with it? It's just I'm not drawn to it yet.
That was actually one of the first stones that I ever bought when I started practicing witchcraft and learning about it. It was
Oh,
rose quartz and tiger eye, but specifically for rose quartz, it brought me a lot of gentle understanding. I feel like I was so much more patient with myself when I started working with these stones. I think in the last episode I mentioned that I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to learn everything all at once. And when I started working with this crystal, I started doing a lot more self love and self care. I found myself having a lot more patience and a lot more calmness with myself. Not in the sense where I would throw away my practice, but more so it's okay if I don't get it right now. It's okay if I'm not in the mood. It's about me and my inner peace. Took from that. I still have some rose quartz around, not as much as how I used to carry it around, but it is great, especially for beginners, I would say. If you're trying to really break through and get that self confidence and that self love that we're all looking for at the end of the day.
no, I love that. I'm so happy to hear that like you work with it. I eventually will get there.
Yeah.
And make sure it's ethically sourced. All your shapes, make sure that's the biggest thing. You don't want to be doing anything that from a negative energy because that will bring negative energy.
Exactly. And you don't want, and there's a lot of underpaid labor and very
Yes.
unsafe conditions that some of these people work in when they're trying to gather these crystals. So a lot of the times they'll have it on their website where they get it from. And if I find something that I don't agree with, I do not purchase from them.
Right. And I think and eventually we can give you a list of vendors that we get from so that way, and if the vendor falls off that list, you know that we've looked into it. Now, you don't have to rely on us. Do your own research and everything like that. But eventually we can come out with a list of where we get our crystals if you want to do that.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Let's do your tarot.
Okay, so I am going to share with you guys a tarot card that was pulled at the beginning of this episode by Sarah.
Yeah.
She was using her crow deck, and it was by MJ Cullinane. Very beautiful artwork. We love crows. We're huge fanatics.
Love my crow deck.
So, the card that was pulled was the death card, which a lot of people get that card and they might get nervous because when you think of death, you think of losing something or you think of grief and negativity. But a lot of the times it just means a transition into something new or a major change happening in your life. It could be through transformation. And it also means the start of a new cycle. So rebirth would also be really good way to describe this card. It can indicate ending a phase or relationship that you might be in or the beginning of a new one. So I think the death card is very much stereotyped and seen in a negative light, just like the devil card or the tower. It has that stigma behind it because it looks scary. A lot of people fear the change and they fear the shift into something new. And every time I've ever pulled the death card before, good things have come of it. And it was very much a transition and it wasn't always super fun. But at the same time, the end result that I got out of it was so much more worth it than staying where I was and never going through that change in the first place.
Justice for the death card, the devil card, and the tower card.
Justice for them. Stop being mean to them, guys. They only
They're
want to love you.
they're because in the end, they're just a girl.
Yeah, they're just a girl. They got a little bow in their hair. It's okay.
Thank you for coming to our garden. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Let us know in the comments how you used the crystal we showcased today, and if you would like us to talk about any in the future. See you next time!